Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praise unto Yahweh Shimi Shai, Wa Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. Honest you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. So I wanted to do this quick video going into the war preparation, the World War III preparation, and this one is on these military drills, the biggest military drills that have been happening since the Cold War. Okay, which this article is saying is angering Russia, because pretty much once you see a military, the opposing nation's military, stacking the deck, or whatever you want to call it, getting into full gear, getting into full swing, then obviously you're gonna feel keen to get your stuff together. So this is what the Russians must be thinking. But the scripture says that this was gonna happen anyway, because when we go into the book of Ezekiel, you find out pretty much that the Most High was gonna put hooks within the jaws of these Russians to drag them up into the wars. So let me get that scripture first. Let's start with this one. In the book of Revelations, I think it is, I want to start with. Okay, so Revelations 20:8, and says, "And thou shalt go out to deceive the nations which are in the four." Let me read. Might need to read up. Okay, so Revelations 20:7, says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison." So when you check out the history, the so-called white man was a non-factor, okay, a persona non grata for a period of about 1,000 years. They was out there in the Caucasus Mountains, I believe, but basically out there in no man's land, all right, in barren places, within in the far reaches of the earth, if you will, out there in barren lands. Okay, that's the best words I can put it in at the minute. Okay, it says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, from that bottomless pit." Okay, they was going to be loosed, and shall go out and deceive the nations. So what's the major deception? The one major deception that they've got, all right, is that the Israelites, the so-called Jews out there within the land of Israel right now, which is a lie. When you read the Bible, the book of Revelations 1:7, it tells you that the Lord, okay, was a man of color. When you read other scriptures, okay, you find out the people of the Lord was people of color. But in addition to that, there's many examples where men, men of the Bible, the Israelite men, when they was amidst the Egyptians, were mistaken for the Egyptians because they was dark skinned, and so on and so forth. So we know that the people of the Lord are dark skinned, okay, and not just dark skinned, also. Obviously, the scripture says within the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, on the 64th verse, that the Lord was going to scatter us amongst mixed all nations. So for the most part, the people of the Lord were going to be dark-skinned, but you was also going to have our people amidst all the other nations. We was going to have our seed mingled amongst the other nations. All right, and shall go and deceive the nations that he is the people of the Lord, and the laws of the Lord are not to be observed. Okay, many other lies that he pushes, okay, which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them to battle, which is Russia. Okay, because that land right now where Gog and Magog was it was situated in the ancient kingdom, that's where Russia be at right now. If my memory serves me correctly. If I'm wrong, put that in the comment board. And it says, and to gather them together to battle. Okay, the number of them who is the sand as like the sand of the sea. So that's what's gonna happen. So you're gonna have a major world war, all right, play out, where the Lord's gonna get Russia and America to come up against each other and fight. The book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, on the second verse, it says, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, and the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal." Okay, I believe these are all sons of Japheth, and the original inhabitants of those lands of Magog and Meshech was obviously the Japhetic people. That's why it's called by their names. But now Esau has gone up into these areas. That's the same thing that they did during the time of the Romans. They took down the Romans, which are Japhetic people, the Etruscans, and basically took on their identity. Okay, but the scripture says here that, set thy face against the land. It says, "I'll turn thee back, and I put hooks within thy jaws, and I bring thee forth, all thine army, and thy horses, and thy horsemen, all clothed with all sorts of armor, even great company of them with bucklers and shield. All of them are handling swords. Persia, which is the Iranians, Ethiopians, Libya with them, okay, with shields and helmet, okay, to play out that situation of war." So you got it to where here NATO is preparing for that. So let's read that. It says, "NATO starts biggest military drill since the Cold War, angering Russia." All right. It says NATO began its largest military drill since the Cold War on Thursday, which was today, angering the Russians, because this article was released today. Okay, angering the Russians. Remember what we just read within the book of Ezekiel? The Most High was going to put hooks within Russia's jaws and drag them out into this war. And put hooks within and angering the Russians, which shares border with I mean, you gotta love this devil, man. Here it is. Okay, they're doing the biggest military drill, and pretty much they did it on Russia's doorstep. Okay, NATO began its largest military drill since the Cold War. Okay, on Thursday in Norway, angering Russia, which shares a border with the Scandinavian country. I mean, you can love this devil, man. You're gonna love this devil, man. He is the perfect devil, man. Matter of fact, if I go into the scriptures, the book of Revelations again, let's put unto him, of which the Russians themselves, they're Edomites. Okay, they're Edomites, but they're gonna war. It's gonna be Edomite against Edomite crime. Okay, and they're gonna, scripture says that the nation that is divided up against itself is not gonna be able to stand, and this is what we're witnessing. Okay, out here. So let's read this scripture here. Revelation 6:4, and it says, "And they went out another a horse that was red," and that's the whole empire, the whole entirety of Esau. Okay, they're represented by that color red. All right, they're the red nation. All right, and it says here, "And the power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword," which is the ICBM nuclear missile technology. Okay, right back, back into the days of Alexander the so-called Great, when they actually used the physical sword. Okay, they was blessed with that. The Lord's given them that ability to kill. But see, if you're killing people all the daggone time, well, guess what? You're gonna be killed too. Okay, so it says there, NATO's biggest military maneuver since the Cold War kicked off on Thursday in Norway, in a hypothetical scenario that involved restoring the Scandinavian country's sovereignty after an attack by a fictitious aggressor. And they're right there on Russia's borders. It says, "Russia, which shares a border with Norway, was briefed by NATO on the Trident Juncture 2018 drill and invited to monitor it. But Moscow is still angered by the exercise." All right, Russia's defense minister had warned that Moscow could be forced to respond to increased NATO activity close to its western borders. All right, because pretty much, Russia's has been painted out as these big bad guys, pretty much. But really, America is the aggressor. America and NATO is the aggressor, and here's the proof. Okay, it says NATO's military activities near our borders have reached the highest level since the Cold War. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said Wednesday. Okay, noting that the war games will be simulating offensive military actions. Okay, and pretty much, that's the video. And with that, I'm gonna say, "Oh, praise unto Yahweh, Shemi Ashai, Wa Kadash, double honors unto the apostles of great millstone, and the brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity." Shalom.